I've read the Goblin Slayer manga before watching the anime, and I'm 100% sure that my opinion would have been different if I hadn't read the manga first. A specific decision they made for the anime I do not agree with. You might think I don't like the Goblin Slayer anime from my previous statement, but that's not the case. I expected to like it more than I have. It's the difference between a 7 and an 8. I'm not mad, just disappointed. Now, I'm sure nobody that's actually watching this needs me to recount the happenings of Goblin Slayer. But just for the uninformed, Goblin Slayer is about slaying goblins, and that's not a joke. In the anime, it shows Goblin Slayer not giving a flying fuck about the wider world. If the world ended tomorrow, Goblin Slayer would still go out slaying goblins because they're alive today. Now, this doesn't mean Goblin Slayer keeps doing the same thing over and over again. For example, in the first arc, they slay goblins, but there's an ogre. In the second arc, they slay goblins in a sewer. And in the last arc, they slay goblins, but there's a very important goblin. It's very entertaining. The goblins in this series are detestable enough that you don't mind watching them die in increasingly creative and hideous ways. Now that I think of it, that's probably the main reason why people like Goblin Slayer. There's a small change in Goblin Slayer's character during the anime. To be concise, he becomes a little more human. At the start, he is a goblin slaying machine, not caring about anything else. He slowly changes. It starts with the priestess calling him out on his shit, if only a little. He also gets more party members besides the priest, but I believe she is the biggest catalyst for the change. Dare I say, friendship is magic. The only other character that changes a lot in the story would be Priestess. She basically gets her shit together, going from a novice adventurer to someone that depends on Goblin Slayer for mental support and freaks out when he isn't there. I think there should have been a moment where it shows her being more independent. Not sure if I'm putting it right that way, but whatever. She also, for whatever reason, falls in love with Goblin Slayer. Well, almost every girl falls in love with Goblin Slayer. Well, them's the rules of anime, I guess. We should probably talk about the CG elephant in the room. It's bad, really bad, overlord bad. All the high school scenes are ruined because of it. There's barely any time Goblin Slayer fights and it isn't CG. I know it's cheaper and or easier, but the CG is the main reason I will always read the manga instead of the anime. If they did the fighting like it happened in the last episode, it would have been way better. But unfortunately, it's the exception and not the rule. Da rule. The Goblin Slayer anime switches around two of the arcs, the Goblin Lord arc and High Priestess arc. I'm pretty sure this was done because the Goblin Lord arc makes a better ending for the anime. I'm okay with it, I would have done the same thing. In conclusion, it's not that I don't like the anime, it's just could have been so much better. Should you watch it? Yeah, but only if you like this sort of stuff, otherwise just ignore it. I didn't have as much to say about Goblin Slayer as I did with FGO, but a friend of mine gave me the idea and I was like, yeah sure, why not? I still wanted to talk about it, but every time I wrote about Goblin Slayer it all ended up just being, oh, I didn't like the CG. So it took a while to actually write all this, and even now I am still afraid that it's still just all about, I didn't like the CG, but I still enjoyed making this, and thanks for watching, like and subscribe, all that stuff, you know the drill.